Welcome back to the Meet McKay Show. Today we have Daniel Iles with us, the TikTok superstar. He has also done extremely well on YouTube, and I cannot wait to hear what he has to explain for us and teach us regarding the TikTok algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, if you want to make it big in social media, exactly how you should do it, and just everything regarding the social media business and overall business in general. So Daniel, thank you for spending some time with me. I can't wait to get started.
Thanks for having me, McKay.
Awesome. So let's just start from the beginning. What was your story and how you got started with social media? And did you have any, like, I know some people start with channels and then they scrap them and then they have their successful channel now, or did you just have one channel and it's grown into it what it is?
I've always wanted to do YouTube. I thought that was really cool. I had a small channel when I was like 12 doing Yu-Gi-Oh cards because that's what I was into.
Okay.
And I made like 10 videos and it never went anywhere. And then I also wanted to be like a gym influencer back when I was really into working out. When I was like 16, 17, 18, I eventually became a personal trainer, just had my business doing that. But I never made a gym like YouTube video like all the people that I was watching on YouTube were doing because I was really insecure about it. And then I started buying houses when I think I was 20 or 21. And
Okay.
that was mostly because of watching Graham Stephan and Meet Kevin on YouTube and learning from them. Those guys were like my heroes growing up. And I learned mostly everything I needed to buy houses, to flip houses, to get into about 23, 24 residential units,
Wow.
commercial. Yeah, residential, not commercial. And then one of them was a sixplex. So I guess that kind of counts as commercial. But all of that was founded on YouTube. And during that process, I think a few months into buying houses, I started making my own YouTube videos, just kind of sharing my journey, sharing what I learned. I had an Airbnb at one point, and I found out that like cleaners for Airbnbs were complete waste and that you should do it yourself. And then I realized doing yourself sucks and that you should have cleaners. And so that process was documented with like multiple flip-flop videos on YouTube. And also not successful, but I kept up with it for about 2 years, I think 2.5, until TikTok came around. I thought it was a really dumb app. I never downloaded it. It sucked. And then one day I was listening to Graham Stephan Show podcast, and Lingua Marina said that she was doing really well on TikTok. And Graham echoed saying he probably should get on TikTok himself. And that really pushed me over the edge, thinking if Graham thinks this is a worthwhile venture, then maybe I should consider it. So I posted twice a day for 30 days and my account blew up, and then I just doubled down on that.
Wow. So I think it's really funny, like just in our like little pre-recording banter, you said that you didn't think TikToks were the most useful source of time, but here you are with a TikTok channel with over a TikTok page with over 1 million followers, and you got that off of a podcast. So it's hard to argue that maybe podcasts aren't the most efficient use because that's kind of where you are now.
Yeah, no, I'd listen to podcasts. I'm just not one for participating in very much of them. I don't think I have too much to say. So anyone listening to
Gotcha.
this podcast, you will get everything and only the juice, because I don't say this often. So I'm not going to waste your time. We're going to get right to the good stuff. I'm going to tell you how much money you can make on TikTok, whether it's actually worth it, and what you should probably be doing instead.
Very cool. So now take me on your journey. So you posted twice a day for 30 days. What was your follower growth like, and how has your content shifted from what you were doing to what it is now?
I think first 2 weeks, I didn't have anything at all in terms of followers. I was posting memes, relatable things, and videos that I saw myself on TikTok. Basically, just hopping on trends and making videos around those trends, which is a very poor strategy. I eventually transitioned into the kind of content that I was making on YouTube semi-successfully. I had maybe 1,000 followers, and that really blew up. So at the time, I was covering credit cards and kind of teaching people with more of an entertainment twist. So it wasn't like, here's how to calculate your APR on a credit card. It was boring. I told them why the Apple credit card sucks and why anyone with an Apple credit card shouldn't be using it. And it was kind of like a entertainment thing on the credit card. It's difficult to explain over podcast, over voice. But trust me when I say it was more entertainment videos than it was educational. And I think that really helped because TikTok, being an entertainment platform and not an educational platform, pushed those videos, and those videos were well received by the audience.
Very neat. How long did it take you to hit let's say 10,000 subscribers, 10,000 followers, and 100,000 followers. And what was the difference in your videos like in between those follower accounts?
It all happened within a few days. I had like 3,000 followers, and then one day I woke up and it was like 90,000, and it was like
Wow.
less than a week.
Did you have one
Mostly,
video that blew up?
yeah, I had a couple of million view videos, and
Okay.
those gained me all of my subscribers. And it was like, why the Apple Card sucks, why you can't get more than uh, 5 credit cards with Chase, and then like a few other ones that were like strange topics focused around an education, but kind of like with an entertaining twist.
Okay. And so explain to me, you were fairly pessimistic about TikTok. How did your attitude shift as you started to see the power of it?
As soon as I got that 90,000 followers in 1 week, I basically dropped everything else that I was doing, including real estate. Actually, at the time, I offloaded that
Wow.
to someone else and went as hard as I could on TikTok, making multiple videos a day. At the time, I was still employed, and I basically dropped my hours by into 1/3 of what I was working, and just worked really hard to capitalize on what I expected to be the few short months that I had on TikTok.
How did you know that, like, you sounds like you made a physical decision to drop your hours. How did you know that the dropping your hours was going to result in revenue from TikTok? How did you know that that was going to be profitable?
I didn't know for sure, and it was about 6 months before TikTok actually became profitable for me. That was in August, and I think my first check was late December, so not quite 6 months, but it was a long time. And I hadn't heard of anyone making money on TikTok before, so it wasn't something that I was expecting. I just knew that with 90,000 followers, I'm getting some eyes, and eventually I'll be able to build a monetization backend around this system that I was getting traction with.
Okay. What were some of your monetization ideas that like? I want to hear about the ideas that didn't work and the ideas that worked, and what that led to.
Almost none of my ideas worked. I thought I was going to build a course. I thought I was going to sell a book. I thought I would have some kind of tutorial training. Who knows? Whatever. None of that worked. I tried.
If you want to know how I ended up sitting here working for Meet Kevin, definitely check out the courses link down below. I was a YouTube course member as well as a member of other courses, but the YouTube course is really what propelled me to get his team's attention to hire me onto his team, now running the day-to-day of his companies. So check out the links down below. They're 100% worth it. My testimony is included in that because that YouTube course is why I'm sitting here. Without that, I would not be here.
Several different things, and I probably just didn't give it enough attention. And if I had picked one of those instead of all five, I likely would have succeeded with just the one. But what ended up making me money was just sponsorships. So creating entertaining content that was useful to people, got them to continue returning to my channel, and then running a few ads with companies that I trusted that I was able to monetize.
Very neat. And what was that first big check that you got, and how did it feel?
It was like $6,000, and it felt really terrible because I was really pushing that one company to pay more and give me more flexibility. And as a new content creator, I had very little leverage. I had few followers. I was at like the bottom end of their like stack of creators that they were pitching. So I was inconsequential, just a rounding error, $6,000. And I was on multiple phone calls with the guy, and it was really stressful. But after that, I just kind of stopped caring and thought, either brands are going to play by my rules, and I'm going to be able to say what I want and give an honest review and not withhold information, or I'm not going to play the game. And that's how I've run it ever since. So I think that was a very good learning experience, knowing that if a brand won't give you your way or won't kind of like acquiesce to some of the things that are important to you and that you value, you should just leave them. And that's what I ended
Okay.
up doing after that.
Very good. And were you also posting on YouTube at the same time, or was it just TikTok?
Yeah, I kept posting on YouTube, and it also wasn't successful. Like I sucked at YouTube for like another 2 years after that, despite having success on TikTok. And I think that was largely because in 2020, yeah, late 2020, everyone was successful on TikTok. Like if you were on TikTok and if you posted a video, you got like 100,000 views. And if you posted like 30 videos in a month, you got several 100,000 subscribers. It was so easy. And now it is absolutely not. The entire marketplace has changed on TikTok, and we're not really, I should say the platform isn't very receptive to new users. You have to be very skilled at what you do, very entertaining, and already surpassing the current creators who have established their foothold back in 2020 to really surpass them or even get on their level. So it's so much more difficult. And I feel like that's the situation that YouTube has been in for the last few years. And honestly, my content wasn't good enough to kind of dominate the viewers' attention over the people that were already successful, like Meet Kevin, like Graham Stephan. And so it wasn't successful for another couple years after that.
When did you just so were you also doing were you doing short form on YouTube too, or were you also doing long form?
Back then, YouTube didn't allow short form, so I was trying
Okay.
long form, and my long form was really boring. There was a steep disconnect between my short form, which was, in my opinion, entertaining and valuable and useful, and then my YouTube long form, where for some reason I became like a different person, super disconnected. I like had trouble talking to the camera. I wasn't personable. My jokes sucked. My scripting was really bad, and the video was like way too long, way too boring, and there was nothing good about it. And I couldn't understand how to bridge that gap between the short form content that was successful, likely because I was also getting a boost in views because everyone was blowing up on TikTok, but then the competitive platform that I actually cared about this entire time, which is YouTube, which I wasn't successful on. And it took me a while longer before I was able to bridge that gap and kind of improve my YouTube content with the same skills that I learned from TikTok.
Okay. So walk me through 0 to 1 million followers on TikTok. If I wanted to start, actually walk me through your story, and then I want to hear what you would recommend nowadays in TikTok if you want to get 1 million followers, what you do. So first, let's hear your story, and then I want to hear what you would recommend to do differently in 2023, because I know that the platform, like you've said multiple times, has shifted dramatically. So how did you do it?
I really systemized everything. I treated it as a business first off, and I wouldn't even say as a creator second off, or like as a creative second off. I never took a creative approach to TikTok. I always try to systemize everything, make everything easily reproducible, and treated it like a machine where I put content in and I get views, followers, money out. And that was very successful for making me kind of impervious to the creator burnout that a lot of my peers saw, making content for a year straight, and then they suddenly have to take 2 or 3 months off. And that 2 or 3 months could be tens of thousands of dollars. I never experienced that because I built the systems behind it first. So what this looked like for me, going from, I think, about 100,000 to the 1.3 that I have now, I haven't really changed the system beyond scaling it further, which is scripting all of my videos. I would have 1 or 2 days out of the week where I would just script videos, and I'd write maybe 10 to 50 videos at the time. Now I'm a little bit more efficient, and I'll probably write about 100 videos if I get 2 days to just write videos, maybe 150. And then I would have a day where I just film, and I would be absolutely exhausted at the end of the day because I'd film for like 5, 6 hours. I'd set up my camera once, I'd set up my lights once, and I'd set up my mic once. So I'm not doing those redundant things every single time that I have to film, but I'd present for 5, 6 hours, be super tired by the end of it. And then the next day I would upload that content to my editor, or when I was first starting, I would cut it up into individual little things and then try to edit it myself with basic captions. But now that process is just uploading all of those raw files right to my editor. And then I would spend the day after that scheduling my posts, reviewing my content, and kind of seeing what worked in the last week or so to determine where I should go for next week, which posts were successful, which trends were successful, and iterate on that feedback loop. Now my process is a lot longer. So I would sit down and write 150, 200 videos, and then I would film them. I'm a lot faster at filming, so it might not take 5, 6 hours. It's usually about 1 minute for every 30 seconds of video content. So I can realistically crank out 60 videos in half an hour. So
Wow.
4 hours filming is, I think, it's a lot of videos. So if I film for 4 hours straight, I've got several months worth of content, posting it one per day. And then I just drag and drop those raw files to my editor. My editor sends them to my assistant. My assistant reviews them for grammatical mistakes, spelling errors, and then she puts them into the calendar to post, and she handles all the posting. So I don't post anything. I literally just turn on my my camera and press record. And I forgot to mention, I got a writer since then too. So I don't even write this
Wow.
stuff. I just review it and make sure that it's all kosher, all things that I agree with and say, and factually correct based on my relative experience in personal finance. So I press the record button, I film for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I drag and drop all those files straight to my editor. Everything else is handled for me. So it's allowed me to be extremely efficient and spend about 2 days every 3 months filming content, with the exception of
That's
sponsored
insane.
content, which is just stuff that I have to do, as I get it. And a lot of that system I actually learned from Kevin's YouTuber course, all of his automations and
Really?
everything, heavily inspired.
I did not know that. That's very cool. So you went from 0 to, because I can't, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you went from 0 followers to having how many ever people you have employed to 1 million. How did you ramp that? And like, how did you ramp that?
Nothing. I think everything after 100,000 followers was the same, just at better scale and better systems and processes. I
So
know
you
it
just
sounds
hired
like there
people, you
should be
hired,
something, right? There should be like a trick or a hack or a something.
yeah.
But it's literally nothing. It's just doing the same thing over and over and slowly getting better over 2 years and iterating. There's no one pivotal point. It's just, man, if you spend 2 years doing something, 4,000 hours, and I was probably working more, I probably have close to 6 or 7,000 over those 2 years because I work more than 40 hours a week. You're going to get very good at it. And especially if you're always trying to improve the system and not just working within the own machine, but improving the machine, it's going to get efficient, it's going to get fast, and it's going to get way better. So I can't say that there was any one thing that took me from 100 to 1 million. It's just that I spent the last 2 years posting and slowly accumulating viewers.
Wow. And so was it like overnight you're like, wow, I need to hire 5 people, or was it like, okay, I need like an assistant, I need an editor, I need a writer, I need how was that hiring process?
It was slow, and it was much slower than it should have been, and it was because I was uncertain, in myself, and I didn't have, I guess, validation that something was working until it worked very well for an extended period of time. And I think as my confidence grew in a process or a system, I put more money in it, either through employees or equipment or software or whatever it was.
Okay. And so that was over the course of the last 3 years. You started in 2020, right? We're now in 2023. That was the last
Yep.
3 years. You're at 1.3 million followers, and not very much has changed other than slight iterations have changed in your system.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. So if you had to start with 0 followers and say maybe $1,000 in your pocket, how would you go from 0 to 1 million followers today on TikTok?
Honestly, 1,000 followers in your pocket is, or $1,000 in your
Yeah.
pocket, that's like nothing. I
Okay.
mean, I would have a hard time not burning through that in a day or like 2
Okay.
with a proper system that I have now. So I would, for the first several months until you get some real funding, take a completely different approach. And it's not one that I'm particularly skilled at, which is being authentic. I shouldn't say that. I am authentic, but being very personable. You have to be extremely likable, like some of these actual influencers. A great example is Your Rich BFF, Vivian too. She's amazing and she has great connection with her audience, but I could never be that. So I never tried to go down that route of having like a friendship relationship with your audience. And so I just had to do something completely different. And it was slightly more expensive. It's a lot more scalable. And it's the choice that I made and I would try to make again, but you need resources for that. You need to likely have a good camera so that you have good audio quality, a great mic so that you have good um, production quality and everything. And it's not easy to start, and it is very intimidating, and especially if you haven't done it before, don't have any experience in production or video creation or being online. It's very intimidating, and you'll either pay that in money, which is going to require a lot more than $1,000, or you're going to pay that in time, which means you'll probably take 6 months to a year to maybe 2 years to blow up, or like YouTube took me 4 years. So either way, you're going to pay, and unfortunately, there's no way of shortcutting that.
You're either going to pay in time or money, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty profound. How many TikTok videos have you uploaded?
Thousands. I think my total video library is a little over 2,000.
So do you feel comfortable that if somebody made 2,000 videos, they would be at 1 million followers today, or not so much?
It depends on the industry that they're in and how well they actually understand that industry or niche. Like I understand personal finance. I understand real estate. I bought 22 units. I made tons of money. I sold all of them. If I didn't have that background, I don't know that 2,000 videos would have helped me at all because I wouldn't know what I'm talking about. And I wouldn't be able to provide as much value as someone that did. Maybe that was only making a few hundred videos, but providing enough value to where someone would really want to listen and people would continue to continue to come back. I think it's easy to get views. I think it's very difficult to get followers, and fewer people are going to follow if you're not experienced and know what you're talking about.
So what's the key then? What's your secret from converting a view into a follower? If you want to know how I ended up sitting here working for Meet Kevin, definitely check out the courses link down below. I was a YouTube course member as well as a member of other courses, but the YouTube course is really what propelled me to get his team's attention to hire me onto his team, now running the day-to-day of his companies. So check out the links down below. They're 100% worth it. My testimony is included in that because that YouTube course is why I'm sitting here. Without that, I would not be here.
I think providing value and doing something that they enjoy. I've always been on the I've always been a proponent of making your content more entertaining rather than more valuable, because at the end of the day, I don't think anyone really goes on social media to learn, even though I did. I consider, 2018, 2019 YouTube to be different than it is now. And usually people log on to social media to be entertained. It's not, I wouldn't try to fight against the current. I know that you want, like, people listening to this might want to be an educational content creator, but it's the hardest thing and you have a choice. So pick the easy thing, which is making entertaining content about that niche or genre or subject rather than trying to teach people, especially if you aren't like a very skilled professional and have years of experience in whatever you're teaching.
Cool. Thank you for that. So you're in the short form world, very obviously. Have you thought about now transitioning into the long form world? Do you feel kind of trapped? What's your kind of thought process on that?
Yeah, so I tried long form last year pretty aggressively. I allocated about, I shouldn't say really aggressively. I allocated $60,000, which was a material sum to me to make long form videos on YouTube. And I should say I allocated more than that. I think it was like close to 90. And then I ended up in the net red negative 60,000.
Okay.
So I gave it a solid try. I got a few million views and found out it's really dang difficult. There's a lot of competition and you have to be extremely good for YouTube long form to be your bread and butter. And to be honest, since then I've found just a different opportunity to pursue. So I haven't pushed it really hard. December was my best month. I got several 100,000 views on my long form videos, but since then I've kind of just let it drop off and pursued something a little bit more exciting. And most of that was on Kevin's recommendation. When I was there, he actually told me, like, YouTube right now is kind of tough because we're in the recession. And if you just wait it out and get the same amount of views you're getting now during a bull market, your income will 5x. So maybe next bull market, I'll come back for that 5x income.
If you wouldn't mind, I'm curious to hear what this exciting opportunities are. You open to talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I became a publisher with Snapchat, went to their LA office, hung out with them, met the rep in North America. And now that's kind of my bread and butter, is running my media company, helping creators publish on Snapchat, working with Snapchat to bring new talent on. And that's what I've been doing almost in replace of my content creation. Content creation was cool. I had a great December. I think it was my best month ever. But I could tell there was writing on the walls that, that the recession is here, brands are pulling back, and it's not going to be a very profitable 2023 for me if I stay in the creator space. A lot of my peers straight up didn't eat in January and February.
Wow.
Like, they didn't get any brand deals at all. And I got a few, but it wasn't super good. And I always know that Q1, Q2, and sometimes even Q3 are extremely slow. So if anything, maybe I'll come back and make a few new videos for Q4, but for the next few months, several months, I should say, definitely focused on building the media company with Snapchat.
So you've more transitioned into a creator. Like, I know you've treated it like a business for that. Let's call you creator, almost into like a business owner. Is
Yeah,
that a correct assumption? And so now you
absolutely.
run a business and helping onboard people to Snapchat, correct?
Yeah, it's a media company business, and I see that as more scalable and less subject to market environments. Because
Okay.
at the end of the day, I wasn't selling a course. I didn't want to be that guy. I wasn't doing an ebook thing. I wasn't, I don't know, I didn't have affiliate links that I was pushing super hard. I made money off sponsorships and brand deals. And when those dried up, I can't continue pursuing a business that doesn't make money with so aggressively. And so I knew I'd have to scale back, making less videos. And I just didn't want to be bored. I wanted to do something bigger, better, something more fun. And so the media company is my way to scale and do something fun with my time.
Very neat. I have been on Snapchat for 8 or 9 years now, just because it's honestly one of my most used communication platforms. I think it's fun to be able to talk to people like face to face without having to like FaceTime. You can kind of respond face to face at your earliest convenience, which I think is neat. But I have never seen the Snapchat story tiles as good as they are now. Are you involved in any like in the production, or do you know why have those have gotten so good all of a sudden? Because the creators are coming back, and Snapchat seems to be this new media platform that hadn't existed until like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I didn't even have Snapchat on my phone until December. That's how unaware I was. And it's been a powerhouse for content creators for years, since like 2018 when they first launched their
Wow.
Discover program. And most people still don't know about it. It's so low key because unless you use Snapchat, you never see those things. And even if you do use Snapchat, you see those things, but you never really wonder how much people are making. And the answer is it's nuts. It's absolutely insane how
Really?
much people are making from individual episodes just reposting their content on Snapchat. And it's largely due to there being very few people in the market. There aren't very many creators that are on Snapchat yet. And the barrier to entry to get in with Snapchat and have your own Discover show is extremely high. You need to go through a publisher. You need to have a good relationship with Snapchat, or at least your publisher needs to. Your content is heavily reviewed. Like every single frame is analyzed by a single person, makes 6 figures, lives in LA. It's not outsourced to
Wow.
some person in Bangladesh or whatever. So the quality for content is extremely high, and they are improving it over time. So there are some things right now that are kind of less than quality on that Discover feed. But yeah, they are heavily invested into making that desirable platform for advertisers, which improves monetization, and then also creators, which further spins the flywheel.
So what like run me through the monetization of Snapchat, because I have never heard somebody talk about this. I mean, you and I talked about this briefly while you were here, but what's the monetization like compared to YouTube and to TikTok?
Sure. It's it's by far the highest monetized platform. Way bigger than YouTube. TikTok's like not even on the radar, and then it's also way better than Facebook. A lot of people have had success with Facebook recently since they opened up their Shorts fund in addition to the long form videos that were paying out. I'll just give you a few examples. I'm not allowed to share what my partners make just because I'm under
Okay.
NDA with them,
Hmm.
but I took one of my most popular videos on YouTube. It got 700,000 views, I think. No, I think it only got 400,000, or maybe it was like 300,000. Regardless,
Okay.
300,000 view video on YouTube. Not bad for a long form. I posted on Snapchat and I got 1.4 million the first time I posted it,
Wow.
1.2 million the second time I posted it a month later, and then like 300,000 the third time I posted it. And I don't think I've posted it since. First time I posted it, it made about 30,000 bucks gross,
Wow.
15,000 net to me. Next time I posted it, it was 12,000 net to me, and then the other time I posted it was like 3 or 4,000. So total from that video, I've made over $30,000 from
Holy
one
cow.
single video that wasn't even optimized for Snapchat. It was just reposted from YouTube. So it's been very it's been good to me. And then honestly, my finance content isn't even like cream of the crop on Snapchat. There's so many better shows that get way more attention, way more eyeballs. And since the ads aren't localized there, everyone gets basically the same CPM. So a person in the news space, for example, that makes daily videos that people have to come back to all the time, and is watching the entire video for all the mid-roll ads, they can make way more. Same with
What did
entertainment channels. Like
what
it's
so you
crazy.
made 30,000 on the Snapchat video, like you reposted it 3 times. What did you make on YouTube with that same video?
Oh, like 3,000 bucks.
Wow, so a 10x. It is that
Yeah.
kind of what you're seeing in terms of RPM, CPMs? Well, I mean, you reposted it, so maybe not quite as much, but I mean, if you're in the finance space, you're looking at $8 to $10 CPM. What are you looking at for CPMs on Snapchat?
It depends on how much of the video they watch. With every consecutive mid-roll ad that's played, the monetization gets higher and higher. And then they also classify their viewers into returning viewers. So like someone that has seen your content before, subscribed, and come back, like a loyal person, versus someone
Okay.
that's seen it for the first time. And the first time viewers, those aren't worth as much as the returning loyal viewers. So the CPMs on those are a lot higher. It's difficult to give a rough estimate, but I'd say anywhere between 20 and 40 bucks per thousand
Oh,
views.
okay. I was actually wrong. I said CPMs. It's RPMs. They're like $8 to $10 for the finance. Is that RPMs 20 to 40 Snapchat, or is it like 10 to
Yeah.
20?
Yeah. And then it's double that for the gross. And
Yeah.
Snapchat always
Okay.
takes half. So yeah.
That makes sense. Wow. So Snapchat's significantly more profitable, I mean, per video, but the barrier to entry is so much higher.
Sure. And this
So,
is like not new. I mean, I went back when I first got into Snapchat and was trying to do all this research. There was very little information available online. But one thing that I did find was Graham Stephan's podcast with Daniel Mack, where Daniel disclosed how much he made from his first one or two episodes on Snapchat back in, I think this was 2021. And it was $20,000, I think, per
wow.
episode. So like it's been there and it's still here and people still don't realize it. And I feel like such a latecomer that I wasn't in on this in 2018, 2019, but I guess that's just like attesting to how difficult Snapchat has made it to enter this game because they want only cream of the crop content.
And why do you think do you think because they control the amount of creators and who the creators are on the platform, they can get such high RPM CPMs?
Absolutely. They control the content and they control it very, very closely. Um, there's Yeah, they have their fingers in all of the episodes, and so because of that, they can charge such a high price for advertisers to play ads on those videos.
Wow, that is very interesting. I did not imagine. I did not think I was going to be going the Snapchat direction on this podcast, but I feel like it was too big to ignore. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
What? So to kind of shift gears a little bit, if I wanted to make a TikTok that got 1 million views, if I'm okay on camera, if I wanted to get a TikTok that got 1 million views, do you have a recipe?
I think that I do have a recipe, but I don't think many people want that recipe, and I don't think it's worth pursuing. An
Okay.
example is I made that dumb video on Kevin's TikTok account back when we were hanging out at the
Mm-hmm.
Creator House about the very expensive Stream Deck that you guys have, or whatever it was, the piece of
Mm-hmm.
equipment. You can go on Meet Kevin's TikTok and watch it. It's my voice, and then I just like point to Kevin, and he explains why it costs so much money. It was ridiculous. That's a piece of content that is entertaining, it's engaging, it's got a great hook, and people will sit through the end to understand why this unreasonably ordinary looking piece of equipment is so expensive. And then he ends the video saying it replaces an editor, and you're in the chair editing the video. And I say, what's he doing? Um, it it got plenty of views. I think it was like one of Kevin's biggest videos at the time. Maybe not his biggest, but in the top 5, in the top 10 maybe. But it's completely pointless. What are those views good for? It could have gotten 1 million views, 2 million views. The people wouldn't have subscribed. They wouldn't have returned. They wouldn't have like actually gotten serious value out of him. And it wasn't a tech review channel, so it doesn't further any type of goal that he was having. It was a silly example to show that I might know a thing or two about short form content because I've lived on the app for so long. But
If you want to know how I ended up sitting here working for Meet Kevin, definitely check out the courses link down below. I was a YouTube course member as well as a member of other courses, but the YouTube course is really what propelled me to get his team's attention to hire me onto his team, now running the day-to-day of his companies. So check out the links down below. They're 100% worth it. My testimony is included in that because that YouTube course is why I'm sitting here. Without that, I would not be here.
it wasn't a great example of how to actually build a following.
Hmm.
And to answer the following question, I think you have to consistently provide value, entertainment, or something that people want to come back to in a way that sets you apart from the rest of the competition. So not just showing up like your favorite creator does, but doing something better to one up them, to where if someone sees both pieces of content, one from you and one from the creator you potentially look up to, they choose you and they subscribe to you, and you grow in that environment.
Wow. So I think you kind of steered me in the correct way. And I should not be asking, how do I get 1 million views? Because 1 million views is kind of pointless. I should be asking, how can I convert those views into followers? And working backwards, what you said, I need to create value and have those people want to come back. Am I off on that?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, you got to create value. And that's the hard part because there's an infinite amount of ways to create value. And it's always complex. It always requires experience and it always requires trial and error. And it's not something that's easy to replicate.
Yeah, and you helped us a ton with our short form content. Our editor and Kevin have taken what you said, and we've switched our content to be more of the education, like the surface level education, where it's like still entertaining and you get a little bit out of it. And you actually helped us out with that a ton. So thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah, I really liked some of the edgy videos that Kevin made. Well, I remember we drew it out on the whiteboard that like
Yeah.
Kevin was like, we got to go edgy, we got to go um, political, and you did that for the next few videos. And one of them got like it was like Kevin's biggest video. It was insane. I
Yeah,
texted
it
him after
did.
like, congratulations, this was the one. That's exactly what you had to do, and he did it. And you know, it's arguable how much education it provided, but it provided value as news, and it had a great hook. It was very political and controversial, so it attracted a lot of people's attention, and it made them want to sit through the entire video, and a lot of people subscribed.
Yeah. That was all a huge tribute to you. And my editor actually told me to tell you that we've completely flipped on how we edit our TikToks because of you. So thank you.
Oh, it's awesome. Cool.
When it comes to, so I feel like there's been a whole, over the last 12 months, there's been a shift on YouTube. YouTube, and you can call it TikTok. And I've heard Mr. Beast refer to it as the Tate style. That's pretty much kind of what I've heard it referred to as, where they sit down for a podcast and in their mind, you can tell that they have certain points that they know will be clipped. And then they take the long format and they clip them into polarizing views. What's your take on the Tate style, so to speak?
Tate changed the game. A lot of people have very strong opinions on him, but I think that there's something that you can learn from almost every person that's successful. And if you couldn't, like, why weren't you there first? Why didn't you do the Tate thing in your own way and get all the following he did without all the things that you criticize him for? Whatever. Side note. I think that there is a lot to learn from that style. It's become really popular on TikTok and YouTube, and it's way more popular than the actual long form piece of content. And it's just too convenient to make. It's like an ultimate hack. You watch it and you think like, man, why didn't people think of this like right when TikTok came out? Why did it take 2 years of iterating on podcasting and TikTok separately before they merged together and created this short form piece of content that's easily digestible, gives you just the highlight, and you don't have to sit through the entire long episode to watch it. I know it's frustrating to some people because they think that their feeds are flooded with it, but um, I would say that there's just as many people that consume it, if not more, because it's so popular.
Yeah, it's definitely impacted how we work here at Meet Kevin too. He's pretty transparent. He wakes up early in the morning, goes live, and he clips up the live streams for the people that don't want to listen to the whole live anymore. He clips those live streams and then he posts those videos throughout the day. So he actually wakes up at like I think 2:58 in the morning, records until like 5 and does a course member live stream, and then he uploads those throughout the day so he can work on his other companies like House Hack. And so he's actually adapted to that same model, and I think it's brilliant. It's the most efficient thing. It's the most efficient for Kevin, his content creation. So I thought that you'd find that interesting. I don't know how he does it. He wakes up so early.
Yeah, Kevin's an animal.
So leading into that, what was your experience? So you signed up for the shadow with Kevin. You actually were here for 2 days. I was with you for one of them. What was your experience like with Kevin? What were some of the things that you picked up on? What surprised you? And then, what was just your interaction with Kevin at first?
It was extremely valuable, and it made me feel like an absolute idiot. So let me
No.
give you some context here. I am one of the dumbest people in the world, and I would say
Oh
things like,
no.
you need to prioritize the things that make you money. You need to 80-20 rule. Do the things that make you money, and it's probably going to be like 20% of the things that make you 80% of the money. And don't waste your time on things that are not beneficial or not getting you closer to your goal. And all these things about prioritizing the right things. And then I go to Kevin and say, hey, I've got all these different streams of income. Can you tell me what I should do and what should I double down on? He's like, look at the biggest one and then just make that go bigger. And I had to pay I don't know, what was it, like $9,000, whatever it was, to hang out with him for 2 days to get that message, because previously I was saying it and I would repeat it to other people, but I wouldn't internalize it for myself. And I don't know why, but whenever he said that, like a switch just flipped on. And I was like, okay, done. I'm not doing this business anymore. I'm dropping off this. I'm ending this relationship for equity. And I'm doubling down on the 20% of the activities that I do that make me 80% of my money. And it's been insane. In the last 2 months, I've made so much money. It's crazy.
That's so cool to hear. I'm glad that the shadow experience was able to provide like that sort of value. Was there anything else that you got that kind of helped your efficiency or things like that, other than the doubling down, or was that pretty much the biggest thing that you took away?
Yeah. I think a lot, but for anyone listening to this podcast right now, I think the one thing that I want to like really tell people and to employ them to do is to spend money on education. That was a very educational experience. I knew that it was kind of extravagant because it was expensive, but the things that I thought I knew, I really didn't know because I wasn't doing them and I didn't internalize it well enough until I had spent that money to do it. And even if you don't come away from an educational experience that you spend money on learning something, often it reframes your mindset in a way that forces you to take different actions. And while I can't say that I learned about the 80/20 principle from Kevin, like for some reason, just spending that amount of money and not taking the advice would have made me feel like an even bigger idiot. So I took the advice and it worked really well. That being said, I'm not telling you go spend this on Kevin's thing. Like if he's not getting me a check of the commission or whatever, like spend money on education however you want to. But yeah, definitely worth the money. And I'd 100% do it again if I could learn another stupid lesson that I thought I knew before.
Very
Otherwise,
cool.
I also took a lot from the way that Kevin runs his business with the content house. So for
Yeah, you
everyone that
did.
doesn't know, Kevin has two places of work. His main house, which he lives in and also does most of his video creation, and then a separate office where it's just like a content office, and all the employees come, all the interns come, and he's there, I don't know, 10 hours a day. But when he shows up, he is working, and it completely separates his home and personal life. It's something that I really like have heard about before, but didn't understand until I was there and experiencing just the ethos of that content office, where at any time someone's like doing something and he is always productive. He's jumping back and forth between people, and really opened my eyes to how productive someone can be when you have like 5 or 6 other bodies in the room wanting to do work and needing your attention and helping you progress on something. It's hard to just like sit back and watch a YouTube video. You can't, because someone needs you. And so he was so productive there. It's very inspiring, and it's something that I definitely wouldn't have realized unless I had actually been there to experience the efficiency and just how much stuff he was able to crank out in that time. Everyone really, it was like the whole vibe elevated everyone's efficiency and productivity, I think. So it's a model that I am going to adopt myself. I'm getting an office space, getting a couple of interns, some warm bodies to help me be more productive and work 8+ hours a day without the opportunity to really get distracted or just like slack off, because I've got someone that's, there that I'm responsible for.
For sure. Yeah, it's been a huge shift having people come into the office, and just there's an energy that I think you felt, and we just
100%.
kind of use that momentum, and we're building these companies into what we hope are massive companies that can provide a lot of value to different, hopefully, tenants of America.
Yeah.
So Daniel, that's pretty much you answered all the questions that I had prepared, and indirectly and directly, like I asked, what's the key to TikTok? And you pretty much told me that if you want to get big on TikTok, don't chase views, find a way to create value to get followers. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest things that I've taken from this podcast, as somebody that's wanting to kind of for fun grow a social media presence, is to find ways to constantly provide value. What is one of the biggest keys to providing value? How do you find a way to provide value? Because I feel like that's we say that a lot here, is always provide value, but and how do you find ways to provide value?
I feel like once you really understand whatever you're trying to provide value with, whether it's real estate, stocks, other forms of education, maybe it's a fitness page that you run or whatever. I think once you really understand the genre that you're trying to teach, you'll be able to provide value. And I think that once you understand how to provide value, you should be extremely generous with it. Provide so much value that people feel like they owe you something. Like you're being like you're ripping yourself off for offering it for free. Just so much content, either educational or entertainment, to where people really feel bad enough for you that you're doing all this for free, that in turn they subscribe and do themselves a service of coming back to watch your videos over and over again.
Wow, I think that's actually very profound, and I don't have any other questions for you. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. But Daniel, thank you so much. Where can people find you on your social media, and on if they want to get in contact with you, if there's some influencer watching this, how can they learn more about Snapchat?
Yeah, Daniel_Iles, ILES on every platform. And then if you need Snapchat stuff, you can DM me on Instagram. I check those every once in a while. If you want to send an email, it's daniel@ghost.video. And that's me.
Awesome. Daniel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you guys, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. We have guests that provide value to us all the time, just like Daniel on here. And like always, see you next time. Thanks for watching. Just like Daniel, I was also a YouTube course member. If you're interested in starting a YouTube channel, learning the ways of social media, check out that link down below. It's going to help you a ton. It helped me a ton. It sounds like it helped Daniel a ton. And you guys are going to get a lot more insight on how to start a YouTube channel from the ground up. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Hit that button, turn on your notifications, and like always, see you next time. Thanks for watching.